What up, rival gang and anybody from the YouTube space seeing this video? Welcome to part 8 of my What If series, and today we have Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara himself, the future's last line, and what it would be like if he joined Marvel Rivals. So, he is a Spider-Man variant, but his abilities are a little bit different, which is why I think he should be his own standalone character, and we'll get into that in just a moment. I do have him obviously as a Vanguard because I do think he's one of the toughest Spider-Man variants out there. And I have him as a difficulty of 4 stars because I feel like with this kit, it's going to be very rewarding. But with that being said, it's going to take some practice knowing where to be. Basically positioning. Positioning is going to be everything with this character, right? Especially as a tank. So with that being said, I have him at 625 HP. I have him at 85 damage per second. His main kit revolves around web and venom, and then his movement speed, which is a little bit faster than the average character, but it is a 6.5. So jumping right into it, we have accelerated metabolism. Miguel's splice spider DNA grants him 18 HP per second regeneration whenever he has not taken damage for 2.5 seconds. Every enemy he has webbed or venomed within the last 6 seconds counts as a threat. Each active threat grants 6% damage reduction, stacking up to 3 threats for a total of 18% total. Managing how many enemies are webbed at any given moment is the foundation of his entire survivability. So basically, you are a brawling bullet sponge, right? You want to create so much chaos that you cannot be ignored. And at the same time, you're going to be able to do things to protect your teammates. Don't get me wrong, but your ultimate goal, you're basically a DPS tank. I'm just gonna keep it as clear as I can for you. You want to be out there damaging as many people as you can, drawing attention to yourself as much as you can. Hopefully your team can back you up as much as possible, but with that being said, it's going to create space, it's going to create gaps and opportunities for your team to do things, whether that's on offense or defense. More than likely, this is going to be better on offense especially, but even on defense, I think you could be a big problem. So let's move to the LMB, which is his Talon Strike, a 5-hit Talon combo dealing 85 damage per second that accelerates with each hit. Each successive strike fires faster than the last, so the full combo lands noticeably quicker than it starts. After the full combo completes, Miguel automatically dashes to the same target if still alive and in range, or the nearest enemy within 6 meters if the target died. Immediately starting a fresh combo, hit 5 applies a web tether and counts the target as a threat. So I think this is a great ability. It's almost like Iron Fist but in tank form, to where as long as you're doing what you need to do, pretty easy, right? You're never gonna lose focus of attacking. So that does give him a little bit ease of use as a character. But then this is where things get a little crazy. So now we have the R&B Venom Fang. Miguel lunges forward up to 5 meters, bites a targeted enemy, injecting paralytic venom and deals 70 damage and reduces the target's movement speed by 12% and the damage output by 10% for 3 seconds. The bitten enemy is immediately counted as a threat. If the target is already webbed or tethered, the venom duration extends to 5 seconds. So, great ability, right? Maybe not for the person on the other end of this, but if you are landing and doing things like this for your team and you're doing it at a very high rate, right? It's going to make it very hard for the enemy team and make it easier for your team to do certain things, whether that's landing shots or just ultimately, again, reducing the damage output that is coming from the other side, right? That movement decrease, that's going to allow your snipers or just damage dealers in general to do what they need to do to that particular target if they can get to them. And on top of that, their damage is reduced. So if they're a high damage output character, again, it just adds that survivability to your team. Yes, it's not a barrier. Yes, it's not a shield, but again, these are things to ultimately, again, help him as a tank to absorb, but with his damage, his own damage reduction, and also reduce the damage that the enemy team is putting out while also applying damage and debuff. So we have Shift, which is Go Swing, probably one of his most fun abilities. Miguel fires an organic web strand and strings at any chosen destination up to 14 meters. Go Swing has a 7-second cooldown. Every 10 seconds, a passive invisibility charge accumulates. Using Go Swing while a charge is ready renders Miguel fully invisible for the full duration of that swing. Enemies cannot target or fire at him while invisible mid-swing. Landing from an invisible swing immediately empowers the next Venom Fang by 30% bonus damage at its standard 5-meter range. The empower expires after 4 seconds if Venom Fang is not used. So with that being said, right, takes you off people's radars because they can't see where you're going, and this also allows you to sneak up on whoever you feel you need to target when it comes to the Venom Fang. And on top of that, if you have you know, the invis buff on you, right, you're going to do more damage. It's going to allow you to get to where you need to go, which I think again is probably going to be the most fun parts of his kit. This is his standard strength swing, so don't get me wrong, you don't have to necessarily go invisible, but if that charge is up, you're going to go invisible, which is going to allow you to get to where you need to be with being untouchable. It allows you to get your regeneration off just in case you need to get your health back. But if you need to stay in assault mode, here you go swing. I think this is a fun ability because even the enemy, there are going to be times where they don't know what you're doing, right? It could just be because you're trying to get back to your back line, right? Because things are going on there. They don't know. They don't know if you're going to be going to come with an attack or if you're playing defense. And again, very fun in my opinion. Next, we have his E, Web Intercept. Miguel fires web strands at all projectiles targeting a chosen ally for 10 meters, intercepting and dissolving them mid-fight for 2 seconds. Any projectile caught by the intercept web counts towards the threat system, adding the attacker as a threat even if they are not directly webbed. Miguel can move freely during web intercept, 13-second cooldown. So pretty much you make your teammate invincible. Now mind you, you are vulnerable while this is happening, so you are still being able to take damage and things of that nature. But for the most part, you are guarding your teammates as best as you can. You're creating a threat also at the same time, right? Unfortunately, you won't be able to attack, but while you're doing this, you know, for at least those 2 seconds, because it's not that long, you can potentially save your teammate's life and help them in a duel that they may need to win, especially if you're like coming back from spawn or something like that, or you're just able to web swing, for example, get the Venom bite off to help them in the fight. Venom Fang off while they're in the fight, and then using this right after, boom. Now it's a 5v6, right? Very cool way again to be a tank when your teammates need help even from a solo perspective. So next we have Glide Slam, which is the F. So Miguel deploys anti-gravity airfoil and launches himself upward, then dive bombs a targeted location at full speed, dealing 110 AoE damage in a 5-meter radius on landing. All enemies caught in the slam are immediately webbed to the ground for 0.75 seconds, so it's obviously less than a second. Don't think that's too crazy. And counted as threats. The glide can be steered mid-air before committing to the slam, 14-second cooldown. Now, the cooldown isn't that low, so I do think, you know, again, you have to be very, very precise when you use an ability like this. Because let's say you even miss this ability, it only goes 5 meters, so that's not much. You gotta be pretty accurate. But if you misplace this, and let's say you don't have a ghost swing or something like that, cool. But if you don't have your threat up, right, and you're just diving in, yeah, you may probably be able to get maybe 1 threat or 2 threats, but you can get blown up pretty easy. So again, positioning, in my opinion, is everything with this character, but it's also a great ability to again engage and do what you need to do as a DPS tank. Next we have his C, which again, I always say it's like an extra ability, right? This could be a team up with Spider-Man. Heck, this could be a team up with Venom. I don't know who he could necessarily have this team up with, but overall, I think this would be a great one. So we just have web snare, right? Something very simple. It says Miguel fires a web strand at a single targeted enemy within 10 meters, yanking them directly toward him and slamming them into the ground on arrival. The enemy is immediately grounded for 1.5 seconds, unable to move or use mobility abilities, and counted as a threat for the duration, 12-second cooldown. So again, it's nothing too crazy. It just allows you to again create that space, open up some avenues for your team to do certain things, as well as grounding them. So for example, melee characters, they're going to have a bad time, or any mobility character, they're going to have a bad time dealing with Miguel, because if you get hit by this, it might be sayonara, especially if the team are focused on what he's doing and, you know, having his back when he's using an ability like this. So next, probably what we're all most excited for is the ultimate. Just going into the cost, it's 3,200, and it is Web Siege, right? His Q. So it says Miguel saturates the battlefield with organic web clusters for 8 seconds, firing a volley that instantly deploys 4 web cluster zones simultaneously in a spread pattern covering up to 20 meters around him. All zones activate immediately and persist for the full 8 seconds duration. Every enemy caught inside any zone is webbed, slowed 30%, and counted as a threat. Any enemy attempting to leave a zone is automatically re-webbed at the zone edge. Web Swing and Venom Fang have no cooldown, and Venom Fang deals 150 damage for the full duration instead of 70. Each kill inside the web zone extends duration by 1 second. So keep in mind, this very last part, they have to be in the web zone for it to stand. So if they're a flyer or something like that, it doesn't necessarily count. But still getting hit by 150 damage, that is pretty huge, right? Other than that, I think this is a great ability because it's crowd control. If enemies are trying to leave or do certain things, flank or whatever the case may be, right? Go invisible and leave, it's not going to be good for them, right? So I think as a tank, this is a great ability to overall help your team as a whole. It allows you to still stay as, like I said, a DPS tank, in my opinion, to where you can get things done and push the team forward. Whether it's on the defensive end or the offensive end, right? If you can pull this off on the offensive end, ooh, it's gonna be ugly. Ooh, I can think of characters like Psylocke or even Spider-Man, to where, you know, they have those AoE ultimates where usually most of them are trying to run and escape. It's not going to be pretty. Or even Thor, this give a character out like Thor if we're going duo tank. You know, things like that are going to be crucial when you team him up with characters that have the abilities as I mentioned. So yeah, there y'all have it. This is Spider-Man 2099. Like I said, this is always for fun, guys. I'm not saying that this is legitimately what should be in the game and this is how he should come packaged. But I do think, you know, hey, if he did come in some form of fashion like this, I don't think it would be a bad kit, right? Obviously, as I always say, the numbers can be changed, the abilities and side effects as far as buffs and nerfs, whatever, right? All that stuff can be altered. But as far as his overall purpose of why he is in the role that he has as Vanguard, I think this will be great. So as I always say, y'all tell me what you think, what you would change, or even something that maybe I didn't think of that you would put in here. I'm always willing and, you know, want to hear what you guys have to say. But with that being said, again, as always, I appreciate the support and the love that y'all show me, whether it's these videos, the shorts, the streams that I do. Everything matters, everything counts. Trust me, it is much appreciated. And until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.